So here we are again. I cast on a few more stitches. I have 16 now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And you see how this one at the end wants to twist around? When you start knitting, just make sure it's standing nice and straight like the others. So now we're going to start knitting, and that very first stitch of the first row is often a little tricky. So I often do that for the children if I'm teaching them to knit. Straightening it out here so it's standing just like the others. And now I'm going to knit under the fence, catch the sheep, slide him through, and I'm going to slide it more towards the point so it's easier, and away he goes. Under the fence, catch the sheep, slide him through, and away he leaps. Under the fence, under the fence. And see how my left hand is helping? I'm not pressing on the point, but I'm just helping it through like this. And so it goes on, row after row after row, till you have something like a square. A little bit longer than a square is usually pretty good. So the way I measure it is I fold it up to see if the sides are the same. And I'll show you that in just a moment. Then I usually do a couple more rows after it's square. It makes it look a little better. When you get to the end of the row, it's just the same, although it feels a little different. You have one stitch left there. You're still going to make sure you go under the fence, catch the sheep, slide him through, and away he leaps. And there's the first row all knitted. I ask my students to always kind of straighten it out and admire their work. What you're looking for is that all of these stitches are standing upright, none are sloped over or crisscrossed. And then you're going to be ready to do your next row. You're going to turn it around. So this is your holding hand now, your yarn, your work is in your holding hand. And I'm going to switch hands here. So now my shepherd hand is still this. Still my right hand is my shepherd hand, but the work has moved over. And now I'm going to start another row under the fence again. So I'm straightening everything out to make sure I've got the right spot. I'm not going to go in this big hole here, and I'm not going to worry about the big hole because it'll get smaller as we go on. I'm going to use my left hand to sort of straighten it. Under the fence, here we go. Catch the sheep, slide him through, and away he leaps. A couple more. Under the fence, catch the sheep, slide him through, and away he leaps. So we're just doing exactly the same thing as we did before, just back and forth. Let me show you now how I measure the square. Here's a white square that I'd knitted before. Here's the cast on row, and here's the cast off row, which I'll show you soon. And you just have to fold it so that it looks like a triangle, so that this side is ideally the same as this side. Right? That's a square. Folding it up without stretching it. Without stretching it is pretty important. So that's a square. For a bunny, I would probably add a couple more rows on the front. You can fold it the other way just to double check as well. There you go. That's how I measure, because everybody's knitting when they start is really different. Some is loose, some is tight, some is loose and tight. Sometimes a couple of stitches get added. So you can kind of approximate a square. That's fine for a very first piece of knitting. All right, next time I'll show you how to cast off.